Welcome to the spoiler review for Insidious Chapter 3, the prequel. So, here's the deal. I'm gonna get straight into the deep part of the story. Beginning of the movie, young teenage girl Quinn, if you've seen the movie you know, but if you haven't, you don't give a shit about what happens, perfect video for you, huh? So she goes to Elise's house. Elise is played by Lynn Shane, the old woman. Everybody knows her. She goes to her house to get help from her. And the help she wants from her is to help her contact her mother. Because Quinn's mother died of cancer, I think it was cancer, a year before. So now she's living, it's just her little brother, and her father. So she goes to her house, tries to contact her, like tries to talk to her and tell her, you know, help me contact her, blah blah blah. And she attempted to contact her mother on her own, which is stupid, because you're not supposed to contact the dead on your own, as if you do, other spirits will hear it, including demons. Ah, demons, yeah. That's common. Real quick, are demons just walking around in the Further? If you don't know what the Further is that other area that happens in the first and second movie, that other world kind of area. Are there just demons walking around there, like, wanna get my lunch? Like, what are they doing? Are they just staying there waiting to hear somebody? I mean, they're like, oh, another voice. I'm gonna go fuck up their life now. And they're gonna need lots of therapy. I'm getting off track here. So, Elise says, alright, I'll help you. Tries to contact her and figures out, like, that's, you know, she doesn't say that's not your mother. She just says, don't try to contact your mother ever again. So, here's the thing. Since the movie's a prequel, you may be thinking, what the fuck is wrong with Elise? Because Elise, you go in her house, it looks depressing as fuck. I mean, there's a scene because her husband killed himself. Her husband killed himself, I don't know how long ago, maybe, I think it was a year as well. And it's just so depressing because she has to lie in bed holding one of his jackets. It's so sad. It's so sad to see that. But bottom line is, she doesn't continue doing that because if you watched the second movie, they explain how the father, as a kid, had a ghost follow him, which was that old dude dressed like a woman. Remember that? And that old dude dressed like a woman wants to kill her, and which she shows, but she actually shows him in the movie as well. So that's why she doesn't do that line of work anymore in the prequel. I'll get into how she continues afterwards. So the movie goes on. She looks like an idiot. She fucking is. She keeps kind of contacting, and that's when the movie starts getting kind of creepy. There's a part where Quinn goes for an audition for a school, which I don't fucking get. I don't get this movie at some parts because I really like this movie. But if you kind of look into it a little bit and kind of, you know, start digesting the movie, you're like, wait a minute. Because there's parts of the movie that they never go back to or they never explain. It's just, usually I like watching a movie or a TV show that like the loose ends are all tied. Loose ends are just loose. They don't do anything. They're just out there now. They're like, they're not important. This wasn't a loose end. This was just a little piece to put in the movie, I guess. So the same night where she goes for the audition, in the theater, she sees like a shadow. I believe it was a shadow of a man waving. So everybody in the theater is like, oh shit, what's this? Continues. And there's a part of the movie where her and her friend are sitting outside of a building on a curb, talking about, like, you know, years from, you know, in a few more years it'll be a dozen, you know, teenage shit. And they're crossing the street, and Quinn walks in the street, and she sees the man waving at her, and then BAM! Gets hit by a fucking car. Now, when that happened, that scared the fuck out of me. Because in my head I'm thinking, wasn't she in a wheelchair in the train? Oh my gosh, she got hit by a car. That's what happened. Exactly what happened. So she gets hit by a car. Dumb bitch standing in the middle of the street looking at a guy waving at her. Fucking go on the street. Get out of the street. Go on the sidewalk. Like, are you waving at me? Don't fucking stand in the middle of the street. Here's another thing. How fast was that car going? So, this was when that moment was a cue for the movie to really begin. Because the pacing in the beginning was kind of like, is it gonna get there soon? I don't know. I get kind of jumpy. I'm like, come on, I want to see it. I'm gonna get scared. So pretty much her getting hit by the car was a cue for shit to go down. Pretty much, it's like, hit by a car, bam, scary. So, after she gets hit by a car, she's in the hospital, and she's dying. Like, they're, you know, when they rush them, they're like, oh, clear, you know, they do shit like that. She flatlined. She's dead. Then it shows her in another place. You're thinking the further. And the beginning of the jump scare started in that scene because she's looking around, turns around, and I knew there was gonna be a jump scare there. I just knew it from instinct. And the jump scare is the demon, the guy he breathes with a breathing mask, and he has like the whatchamacallit. It is dance. The drape, whatever you call it, the thing, the gown, the hospital gown, the thing you wear, and. So, that happens, scares the fuck out of everybody, and if you scare the fuck out of me, I even screamed a little bit, because all you see is her looking around, and then face of the demon. He doesn't look too much like a demon, he looks more just like an old, wrinkly, dead dude, you know. So, you just see the face, and it's just like, holy shit, and then she woke up again, she's alive, so I'm thinking, it was reverse. She got hit by a car and died, and then got scared back to life. That's fucking cool. So she comes back, and then it goes through the whole process. She's in the hospital, blah, blah, blah. She goes back home, and she sees her friend, the neighbor kid, the teenage dude who has a crush on her, and another neighbor, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. And then that's when the movie continues. Because before she got upstairs to her apartment, there was the old lady who lived near, her neighbor. And her husband, they lived there, and she was an old woman who kind of talked a lot, kind of weird shit, but she was saying like, there's a man in your room, and then it's kind of like, he's there right now in your room, and you're thinking, she's talking bullshit. Other people will be like, how the fuck do you know that? So, she gets back into her apartment, friends are there and all that stuff, and then that's when the movie kind of continues to be more and more creepy. So, the movie continues with the whole scenes that I hate so much about trailers these days. That the trailer showed probably 3 to 4 of the good scares. 3 to 4 of the good scares are in the trailer. And it completely ruined them. Because the scene where, it's a very famous scene they show in the trailer, where she's in bed and she's doing the knock thing. She goes knocking. And she knocks on the wall, and then she thinks it's the neighbor knocking back. Of course, it's not the neighbor, it's the demon fucking with her. So, in that scene, she puts her phone down, she lies down, and then a hand grabs her head. You know, kind of like pushes down or some shit like that. I don't remember exactly what happened. It's kind of forgettable, some of the jump scares, too. So that happened. And I don't remember. Here's the thing. I don't remember if that was that scene or if that was the scene where... No. I remember. That was not the scene where the shit went down for real. That happens. That happens. And then there's the cracks on the ceiling. That's what happened. So the father's like, what happened? Goes upstairs and he tells the landlord what happened. No one lives on that top floor above her. No one lives there. But when they get in the apartment, what they see is like... At first I thought it was blood. It can be tar. It can be oil. Whatever the fuck it is. It's gooey liquid. I'm going to say tar or oil. Didn't really look like blood. Of footprints walking in the apartment. Father's like, you know, who's going to fix the cracks? Who gives a shit about the cracks? Right then and there, it's not like no one saw the footprints. You saw it. You touched where the liquid that was. And you're worried about cracks in the ceiling? What the shit was that all about? Who gives a shit about the cracks in the ceiling? There's a dude walking in a vacant apartment, barefoot with some shit on his feet. Who cracked the ceiling? So anyway, I'm gonna skip most of the stupid parts that doesn't really matter. But before I get more into the scary parts, is what happened to everybody else in the movie? Like, what the hell happened? She had a friend who kind of had that edgy punk feel to it. and she had the neighbor who was the nice kid next door who had a crush on her. What happened to that? So what happened to her friends? What happened to them? They didn't show up ever again. They showed up in the beginning of the movie, still in the beginning of the movie, and then at that edge point where shit's about to go down. And that's it. Never saw them again. I thought that they were going to show up at the end at least, to be like, how's your life been now that you've been terrorized by a demon? Nothing! Nothing happened afterwards. You don't see him ever again. It was pointless to the story. Now the part with the kid living next door, maybe fine. But you can't just leave that there. What was the point of being with a friend? What was the point of that? They could have done anything else. They could have done a thing where she leaves the theater school, she gets hit by a car right there. Why did she be with her friend for? For what? There was no point to that. There was no point for the friend. Whatever. Getting back to the scary parts when shit really went down was a scene where she's in bed and she sees a dude behind the curtain. So it's like the curtain, and then he's walking while the curtain's still on his face, and then as he gets to a certain point, he just drops down to the floor. Just like, you know? Just like walking, and then, bye. You know, so when that happened, she's brilliant woman that she is, instead of screaming at the top of her lungs of what the hell's happening, she creeps over the bed to look under the bed. Now, you would think he's under the bed. Because everybody knows it's too simple, so it's gonna be the other way around. But before he looked behind the curtain, she was talking on a web chat with her friend, the punk chick, which I still guess is alright to have her in the movie. I guess that's another reason, but it could have been anybody else. It could have been anybody else, or add her more to scenes. Maybe I'm not getting too much into it. Well, she's talking on a web chat with her, and she's saying, I think she's, somebody said somebody's next to you. I don't remember what the name was. And then screen froze. And that's when the guy came out of the curtain, blah, blah, blah. She dropped the laptop. That's another thing. She dropped the freaking laptop. That pissed me off. It's a freaking, it's an Apple laptop. It's probably not cheap. You just fucking broke it, bitch. So, the demon grabs her, fucking flings her, lands on the floor. She's like, you know, and all you see, this part was fucking creepy. She's on the floor, and all she sees is, she sees the floor, she sees like past under the bed. She just sees 2 feet land on the ground. That's all she sees. And she's like, oh fuck. So walks around, closes the curtains. Continuing around, closes the door. Keeps walking, closes the laptop screen so it can be completely dark. And in that scene, I was like, she is about to get fucked. Literally. The demon, like, gets on her, scaring the shit out of her. The father runs in, what's going on, blah, blah, blah. Elise, she does end up helping. She does end up coming to the house to try to help, but then when she goes into the further, that old dude who looks like a woman from the first and second Insidious movies is trying to kill her in the further. So she escapes the further and is like, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't help you. Nope, 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 not doing it. So the son, the Quinn's brother, insists of calling these 2 guys who are ghost hunters. And those 2 guys are the 2 guys from the first and second Insidious that work with Elise. So this is saying, this is how they met. You know? So she shows up, they show up to try to help. Some creepy shit happens where it's just like, what the hell's going on? You know, because they had a camera on her forehead and the camera was in the closet. Out of nowhere, Quinn is standing up. Well, I don't know where she got this wrench. She had a fucking wrench. Big ass wrench. She kicked the big dude in the leg, smacked the father in the face with a wrench, and smacked the other guy in the face with a wrench. And the thing was, she was like kicking the cast off her legs or some shit. And she was pretty much possessed. She was possessed by that demon. She grabbed a box cutter. For some reason, there was a box cutter in the bedroom that was open. I don't know why. She grabs the box cutter and was gonna kill herself. Because that's what the demon does. The demon the demon gets to a certain point of the person to kill themselves. They stop her. They tie her up, and then there's another scene in the trailer that they show there's an eye on her throat. That was I don't really know that was there. That was just kind of creepy. So, and then Elise shows up out of nowhere. So now, if you can kind of figure it out, because this is another part I kind of forgot about now that I just remembered, that there's a scene where she falls asleep on the couch. She wakes, she takes off the sheet off her head, she wakes up, and I'm thinking it's a dream, but it's actually happening, of her outside of her apartment trying to get in the elevator. Like, she's in the wheelchair. Demon grabs the wheelchair and leads them back to the room. And she ends up actually being in that room upstairs. She's like screaming for her father, like, what the fuck is that going on? You know, blah, blah, blah. And the father goes up with a flashlight and a baseball bat, and he gets upstairs in that apartment, finds his daughter on the floor, and sees the footprints trailing to a bedroom. He follows the footsteps and sees that the demon just jumped out the window. He looks out the window, which is in the trailer, and it pissed me off. Like, I don't know why they put this in the trailer. Looks out the window. When he looks out the window, demon's on the floor, dead. You're like, he just killed himself. And it's like, hey, Quinn, you want to see a dead body? She looks over. He's right fucking there trying to grab her to pull her down and lift him. I mean, the girl's traumatized enough. Why would you want your daughter to see a dead body? I mean, she wanted to do it on her own to be like, you know, he's dead. I want to see that he's dead. Fuck that shit. She went out the window. He's dead. I don't care anymore. He's fucking dead. So then the movie continues, blah, blah. Then, yeah, I said before, the ghost hunters, they show up and help. And pretty much the movie ends with, because another thing, that demon has half of her soul. She has, man, it's fucking hot here. The demon has half of her soul. So since the demon has half of her soul, he literally has, like, a spirit version of the girl with no eyes, no hands, no feet, like, no mouth. Eventually, she has, like, a mouth and everything. Like, he's taking her piece by piece, you know what I mean? So, the movie continues on. Then, of course, at the ending part where Elise goes in there, grabs her to sit down, help her, and it's like, you know, calling for her mother. The spirit helps the mother. Quinn comes back normally, rips off the mask of the demon. Demon's like, and that's the movie. But now, the part that I was like, why did you put this in the movie? For what reason? For what reason? And that's the very, 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 very last bit of the movie. And that is the part where Elise is back at her very depressing house, looking for her husband's jacket that she sleeps with. And by the way, the demon acted like her husband in the part of the movie as well. Just saying. She cut his face with a shaving blade. It's pretty cool. Grabs the jacket and says, I love you too, so I'm thinking she can see him. And she has a dog. And her dog is barking at the dark. Like, there's a dark room just barking at it. And you look closer, you can see a little face. Not a small face. You can see just the face. I don't know if his eyes are open or closed or not. And everybody in the theater is like doing this. They get closer and they show her back, you know, the background is all dark and you see a space. You can think about it, something's gonna pop out in that space. And the fucking demon from the first movie, the red and black demon, just shows up and everybody's like, what the fuck? And the movie ends. So everybody in the theater's like, what the fuck? And I'm just like, why? Why? It was funny, fucking scary, but this movie was trying to kill people in the theater. There was no fucking breaks of jump scares. Why? Oh my god, that scared the fuck out of everybody. Everybody's getting closer and closer to the screen. And then, fucking bam, there's a demon from the first movie. Now, why was he there? Kind of to be an homage, I guess, to the first movie, but there wasn't a reason for it. I don't think there was a reason to put that in the ending anyway. Now, was there a reason to end the movie in that fashion? Sure, because before the movie was going to end in a kind of like, when she was talking to the two ghost hunters, kind of like, you know, alright, we should work together. You know, kind of like that. It should, yeah, alright, the ending seemed fitting in a certain aspect, But why did it have to be that close? Why? Man, I get heated with movies. Jesus, it's getting hot in here. So that is my spoiler review for Insidious Chapter 3, the prequel. Even though it's not called a prequel, I just say it so people don't get confused. Oh god, it's hot in here. So that is it for the video. Give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos and more reviews and more other stuff that I'm going to be doing. I have 2 other YouTube channels which I'll put the links in the description if you want to check them out. And that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye! Boo.